popcorn. We are two niggas spoiling movies. Yeah. Brandon Collins, that's me, and Justin Brown for your movie needs. Media popcorn. Woo! You haven't seen it, well, we're gonna spoil it. Spoil it in your face. That's your warning. So if you get pissed, it's all your fault. Boy, you should know that I've got you on. Shit. What? I've been watching. I forgot the lyrics. Building it up to it. Ah, shit. This is why I don't do karaoke without the lyrics in front of me. Last night at night, I think of you. I want to be your baby. Don't leave me a call, boo. You don't even know the words. Look at this. Trying to make it happen. But fucking so gross. You just it's so stupid, right? That needle drop at the end, that was so fucking stupid. I love this movie. Oh my God. Yo. It's so ridiculous. Brandon, I'm going to tell you right now, it's been a long time since I've been in a movie theater where I'm watching a comedy and the entire audience is on the same fucking page. Yeah. Yeah. Like, that's the great thing about this fucking movie. Everyone bought in, and the moment that fucking Tim Robinson's face comes on screen, everyone just started laughing. He has that face. He has that face where people just laugh at it. It's so unfortunate, but he's leaned into it. Andrew DeYoung, who's the writer and director of this, like knew who he was working with. This is a perfect Tim Robinson. If you don't know who Tim Robinson is, this is a perfect introduction. And I'm glad that you had a similar experience, because that's why I was kind of bummed when you said, "Oh, I'm seeing it like last night." I was like, "Shit, I wanted to see it with you," because it was so much fun watching this at South by Southwest in a packed theater. Like, and everyone was just locked in on it. Like, no one was like, "What the fuck is this?" Everyone was just like, "This is so," like, from the moment we see Craig with the coffee and he like fills it up all to the very fucking top, and he's just walking. It's just little things like that are so fucking weird. No, you have to start at the fucking support group. So Kate Mara is playing his Craig's wife. Yeah. And she's talking, and she's, she basically she beat cancer and everything like that. So she's in the support group talking about it, and you can see Tim Robinson's face, or Craig's, the character's face, but it's blurred. Is he's in the background, and you can see him kind of just like listening to her speak, and then the moment that he came into focus and he kind of leaned in, everyone just lost it. Everyone just lost it, because you know that when Tim Robinson gives you that fucking face, you know he's on the bullshit. Oh yeah. And like the bullshit is palpable. There are a few people that can do what he does, and like, man, he did not fucking miss on this one. He did not fucking miss. Between like the weird quieter moments and then like just a random outburst, like when the one that really killed me in the theater, where I was like, there was two moments where I was like, when he like had the outburst, where I was like, yo, this is like incredible, like Jim Carrey level like energy right here, was when the dude, he's drumming, trying to drum in the garage, and like, his wife's having that like, you got saved from the fucking sewers, which we'll talk about, party. Welcome home party. And then that one dude comes in, and he's like, your wife Tammy is an angel, and she deserves all the love. And he's like, who the fuck are you? Like, who are you? And then the fuck out of here. And then the other one is when he beats up the mayor, right? Like, or he threatens to kick the mayor's ass. Yeah, I knew you were gonna like that. I will beat the shit out of you. I will fuck you up. And then like he's like getting fired. He's like, guys, I get it. It was a little crazy, but come on. You tried to beat the mayor. Mind you, he's like a small like marketing exec. Like his coworkers don't really like him and stuff. Like, he was barely hanging on. So for him to be so like despondent about why he's getting fired.
because we should tell the audience like this is a quirky comedy, but it is very like single white female. Like it's a comedy thriller, which is very rare to get.
Yeah,
and it kind of works.
No, it definitely works
as a genre bending.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't like this. Also works because of Tim Robinson. And like, yeah, Paul Rudd's in this film.
Yeah, he's
and
great.
You got Kate Mara as well.
Paul Rudd with that mustache is great.
Yeah, she looks wild.
Who was the kid that played the son? He looked familiar. He was in It, right? Jake Dylan Grazer. Yeah, he's a nepo baby, but he plays Craig and Tammy's son. And when him and Tammy kissed on the lips, and Tim Robinson's just like, did you two just kiss on the lips?
Yeah, he was also the kid from Shazam.
Yeah.
So, all right. Like the thing is, like, this is kind of a cross, like you said, single white female, cable guy.
Yes.
And I say it's a cross being cable guy because it has that wild fucking energy.
And it's dark as fuck. And it's really dark.
Yeah. It's dark. It's wild. It's kind of scary and intense, but all while being at the same time wildly hilarious. Like, I'd say every 3 minutes you're laughing at something.
I say even more than that. Like,
I know.
Because there was people that just couldn't stop laughing at Tim Robinson's face.
Yeah.
Tati felt bad at it. Some bro, she's like, damn, you just keep laughing at his face. I'm like, I mean, sometimes you gotta embrace it, like I had we both do comedy and stuff. We're very expressive with our faces and stuff. And eventually I'm just like, when people laugh at my faces, sometimes I embrace it versus being like, I'm not making that face. I'm like, I know I naturally make weird faces, so it is what it is.
It's funny because I remember, like, when my dad, when he was like his mom was really slipping with dementia and shit like that. There was this big incident. And I remember telling my best friend about this thing, and we're talking on the phone, telling about everything that happened, and then he starts kind of laughing, which obviously was not what I wanted at the time. So we kind of had it out about this whole thing. And then, like, once we finally talked about it, I'm just like, yo, I'm telling you about, like, some real shit's going on in my life, and you're fucking laughing. He's just like, bro, it's like you're telling the story funny. I don't know if you realize, but you're telling the story the way you've told any other ridiculous story to me. And so I had to realize, like, shit, I need to figure out, I need to make sure that I'm, being a normal person. Well, but it's also how people view you and shit like that.
Yeah, but I've also said that's just like your natural like storytelling vibe and stuff. You shouldn't feel like guilty about that. It's just like
no. But that's what I'm saying. It's just like sometimes that's who you are, and Tim Robinson, he has that face.
Yeah, and it can be uncomfortable at times. Like I've had to it's actually opened up a new level of my storytelling and comedy lately. Where like there's stories where I was reluctant to tell them, or I felt like they were uncomfortable, or they like just made they really like put a microscope to how weird my upbringing was. And now it's like fucking comedy gold. Whether it's like being stuck on a glacier in Alaska, which like was traumatizing, or being a sex ed teacher when I was barely out of high school and shit. Like that's been like, wow. People have been like, what the fuck are you telling me?
Like, yeah, a sex ed teacher when you're obviously just obsessed with booty holes.
At that point, I only got like a aggressive blowjob. So like me talking about, it was wild, dude. Being a sophomore in high school and teaching like juniors and seniors in high school and middle schoolers about HIV and AIDS and like talking about the bodily fluids.
You mean you're a sophomore in college and teaching junior and seniors?
No, I was a sophomore in high school.
And you were teaching juniors and seniors in high school?
I was 15 years old when I first started working at this work. That's what's so crazy about it, Justin. Why you think I'm insane? Look at that. I'm like,
wait, hold on,
Brandon. Man, it was crazy.
Why were you a sophomore in high school teaching older kids about sex ed?
I don't know,
man. Were you a fucking missionary?
I got paid by this private organization to teach all these workshops. Abstinence, HIV, AIDS, STIs was one.
Oh.
Yeah, man.
Why did they get the black kid to do it? Oh,
I mean, it was a diverse group though, but like, it was like,
but still, that's bad.
I mean, I'm pretty sure I was used to deter people from having sex, probably.
Just by the look of you. And how you're just sitting there right now with a smile on your face. See, that's the Tim Robinson fucking effect.
Exactly, and I just embrace it. That's why, like, I really love this movie because it really honed, like, it. The director, like I said, clearly knew who Tim Robinson was. They probably collaborated a lot on like the scenes and everything. Like, everything just felt so authentic to like Tim Robinson's comedy sensibility. Like, having been a fan of his from Detroiters and like his Netflix stuff, and it's just like I said, like, I said in our South by Southwest review, and folks, be sure to check out that full recap because we talk about a lot of cool movies that we saw that haven't come out yet. So you want to keep those movies on your radar. But I was like, this is a huge breakout role for him, and it's doing very well in the limited box office. I'm hoping with it gets more screens, it gets even more traction because
I think on the 23rd, correct?
Yeah, there were some bits, dude. Like, okay, let's talk about the first guys. Well, like, let's talk about how he meets Paul Rudd, Austin Carmichael, which is such an insane name. And Austin wants to be he wants to be the morning weatherman because right now he's like early morning, right?
No, he's the late. He's
late. Yes, yeah. He wants to do morning.
Weatherman. He wants to do the morning stuff because it's gonna open up his schedule so he could kind of live more.
Well, also it gets him more like screen time. Like, he gets more like valuable screen time and stuff with the audience and stuff. And and we learned like about Austin's career. Like, it's not like great, but like he's doing okay. But he just obviously has bigger career aspirations. We also find out that he has, spoiler alert, a toupee on, which is revealed in a fucking crazy ass way. But Austin's new like to the neighborhood. Craig and Tammy are like slowly moving. It seems like from their house, like they're in the process of selling their house, and so a package gets accidentally shipped to Craig and Tammy's house, but it's actually intended for Austin. So that's how they meet. And then Austin seems like a nice enough guy. Craig presents himself as relatively normal, and so Austin, of course,
but weird.
But everyone's kind of weird, especially when you first meet them. It's like it's a first meet.
Yeah. But it's funny because like I feel like when you move into a new neighborhood, you feel like this.
Yeah.
But like it seems like Craig, the character, he never got past that awkward stage of just like trying to find yourself in this new setting. And like sometimes it could take years, it could take months, it could take years. Like for me, like to feel comfortable in my neighborhood to where, and to start getting to know people, it took about like 3 years. Almost. So it's a tough thing, but like it just seemed like Craig was that guy that nobody knew and nobody wanted to get to know.
Well, I mean, that's, to be fair, once you get to know Craig, that's the thing with Craig, where, Austin invites him over to guys' night. And Tati and I actually talked about this because, especially with guys, it's really hard, especially when you're older, to make new friends. I think it's not just for men. I think it's for all adults, right? I think after a certain age, it's just really hard and awkward to make new friends, especially I think after your mid-20s, if you're like going about trying to like meet people, it gets weird, especially like nowadays. I remember in LA, man, when I was out there by myself, trying to just meet people in person was tough. You know what I mean? Like, Tati has a friend that used Tinder like to meet people in her area because apparently Tinder has a friend finder function, not just like trying to hook up and stuff. Like, it's like actually like, hey, I'm just new in town, I'm trying to meet people, I'm not trying to like look for a relationship or anything like that, because that's how hard and weird it is to meet people. And LA also is a very transactional city, so it was even more isolating. Except this is a small, like, where are they're like in Colorado. It's a small town in Colorado, so it's a bit weirder, but like a lot of the people look the same. It's like vanilla, like oaky white people and stuff. So except for that one brother who's part of guys' night. And Austin invites
there's two brothers and guys.
Oh yeah, that's right. Austin invites Craig over to guys' night, and Craig reveals himself to be really weird and awkward. But then it's guys, and so they're talking honestly, and like one guy talks about how his overdeveloped teenage daughter like makes him uncomfortable and how he's worried about her like navigating this world with really horny men and stuff like that.
Yeah, because guys are looking at her and he doesn't know how he feels about it.
So he starts crying. He starts crying, and then you can see this in the trailer, and they just start singing a cappella. And then they can slowly zoom in on Craig's face, and he's just like this is a community, like this is what guys do. And then mind you, this is after the glass door situation, right?
Yes, the sliding glass door. So, well, first of all,
the audience reaction to that was wild, dude. When he hits the glass, that was like so hard. That was ridiculously hard.
Hold on, let me set it up. All right, so Again, guys, we're spoiling a lot of this movie, so like, you know, if
you haven't heard the theme song, come on, what you doing?
Yeah, come on now. So he's outside talking to one of the other guys, and the guy goes, "Oh, I'll see you inside." So he goes inside, and then before Craig goes inside and joins the bigger group, he's sitting there, he's smoking a cigarette, which he only started smoking because he met Austin.
Yeah,
yeah, because like he because they went through the tunnels, which is gonna be important later. They went through the tunnels.
Oh, that's
went to
right.
the mayor's
Yeah.
office.
Austin showed him the tunnels that go to the city hall, right?
Yeah.
And it's like this dark, quirky. It's really weird, like these tombs and shit. And so he's showing, like, he's helping Craig tap into his adventurous side, right? Yeah, when he takes the wife there, it's so great.
But all right, we'll get there, huh? So
where's your wife?
He's smoking, and he basically gives himself a pep talk. He's just like, like, people like you, you're interesting, you have a great job, da 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 da. It's like, you got this. So you're just like, okay, he's nervous, and he's just trying. He's trying to find his way, right? And then he just walks right into the fucking door. He hits the door fucking hard, drops his beer. he drops his beer, and then steps to the door, and he's just like kind of standing. He's like, "Hey," well, he opens the door, he closes it behind him, and he's just like standing there. And the guys is just like, "Are you okay? Are you like are you fine? Like, you hit that door pretty hard." He's like, "Yeah, I'm fine." He's like, "Where's your bathroom?" Which for me was just like, "Oh, he's really fucking hurt." And he's like,
he needs a private moment. It's like, you ever seen that episode of The Office where Michael got punched by Dwight?
No.
It's called The Fight. It's like in season 2, and then like Michael's like, Dwight, you can't hurt nobody. And Dwight's like, I'm a black belt, like I can hurt you. And he's like, all right, punch me. And he pops Michael Scott, and Michael's like, I'll be right back. And he like stumbles into his office and like falls over the desk, like it's in so much pain. He like closes the door and tries to close the curtains, but the camera can see, and he's just like him falling on the desk, like, oh god. But yeah, then the glass explodes, right?
Yeah, the glass breaks, and then it's like there's this awkward moment. He turns around and looks at the glass, and then looks at everybody else, and then all the guys start laughing, which then he starts to laugh. So like that's a moment where like he feels acceptance. It's like, okay, this weird awkward thing happened, but they're not judging me. They're accepting me for it. Like, it's just a funny thing. And then we cut to the basement, them having that circle, and then for some reason they decide to start boxing. Which is nuts. Which was fucking nuts. Why would you do that for a guy's night? That's crazy. But then again, I know tons of guys who used to hang out, and all of a sudden the boxing gloves come out. It's just like, this is a bad idea.
Yeah, it just didn't seem like a good idea. And then of course Craig and Austin fight, and Craig, because he's getting in his own head and stuff, he takes a cheap shot and hits Austin pretty fucking hard. And then that's when it's just like, all right, well, we're done for tonight. It's like mad awkward again, like, because at first you're like, because for me I was like, oh, is this where this movie's going? Where like because it like hints that there's darker shit ahead for Craig and like this weird relationship he's creating with Austin, but it's like you don't know where the darkness is coming from. Because I'm like, there's an angle where it could be Austin actually, who's the fucking crazy one. He's like really evil, like, because Austin's kind of making like Craig do this weird stuff. He's like taking him to the woods and talking about mushrooms and shit, and like, oh yeah, then Craig's sinking into the, and they kept talking about those clothes, right? That fucking what was the fucking style? The artist,
it's like CV something.
They kept bringing it up, like they kept bringing up this fucking branded clothing. It's like because they have great deals on pants or something like that. He kept bringing it,
and every time it's just this is a perfect fit. Their new spring line is coming out, and like they got some real great stuff in there.
But I will say, it's like this clearly was a very big highlight in Craig's life. We don't learn much about Craig's upbringing and like whether he had friends growing up and stuff. But there were definitely I have people in my life who have like have you ever had friends, Justin, where you're hanging out with them and they like want to take you to a restaurant or do this thing that they did with somebody else and had such a fucking great time doing it that they want to do with you, but it just feels a lot like they're just trying to relive this moment that was obviously very special to them.
Yeah.
I have a friend that constantly is trying to do that, trying to like make me and the other friends relive experiences he had with other people. and it just feels so like, and because it's not authentic to our friend group. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, well, you know what? I mean, are you talking about me, nigga? No, no.
no,
See,
no,
like,
no.
I think, like if I go to a restaurant and I really like it, I'm like, I am the person who's just like, hey, come to this restaurant. You're gonna love this place. Whatever.
Okay,
Let's check
but
this
at
out.
that
Like, but that's hold on. Go ahead.
well, I
Finish.
was going to ask at that restaurant though. If you took me to that restaurant, right, and we're like, which mind you folks, Justin's never taken to me out to dinner, so think of it, see that with what you will. But have you ever been
Nigga,
like,
you
oh,
paying for yourself?
have you ever been
If
like,
I'm paying, I'm fucking. Go on.
have you ever been like, hey, get this thing because I loved it or X, Y, and Z friend loved it? Like, do you do that kind of shit where you're like, oh, we should have these drinks because we had these last time and they were amazing or something?
Oh no. I'm not.
That's what this friend
I mean,
does.
I'll give you I'll like suggest something. But it's like, well, he's like, somebody says, oh, what's good? It's like, or as you look through the menu, it'll be it's like, last time I was here, I tried this. That was really good. But like other than that, that's the only thing I can like recommend. But such and such.
Yeah, I remember with this friend, we were it was like me and a bunch of my college buddies. They came to visit me in LA, right?
Mhm.
And we're driving in the car in the rental. And then this friend is like, oh, there's a sweet green around the corner that I went with these models and stuff. We should go there. My friend Sid was like, motherfucker, I didn't come to LA to go to Sweet Green. What are you talking about? Like, why would we do that? You know what I mean? Um,
Wait, this is a fast food restaurant.
It's so random. Like we're in LA, we're trying to go to fucking Pinks and like make like unique stuff to LA. Like you don't go to Sweet Green. Like we can go.
Well, it's also one of those things. It's just like who gives a fuck that you went to this? Like, if we pass something and you have a story about it, just tell the story. We don't have to recreate the fucking story. Like,
Exactly.
that's nuts. That's fucking
Exactly.
nuts.
And he gets upset when we don't do that shit because we're our own group and stuff like that. But that's a whole other thing. But I will say having guy friends is a lot of work. It's a lot of work,
Hmm.
especially like I think as we're getting older. I think it's I think you and I have like grown a lot in our friendship, like just to talk
Yeah.
about that, like and how we talk about the challenges we've been having lately, like especially the past, I would say 2 years or so, man.
Yeah. Last 2 years
It's
have been rough.
it's been tough, and I have other close friends that are going through similar shit too. Like, one just got laid off, and then others are just struggling, man. It's like,
It's spiraling.
but
We're
then you're
all
like,
spiraling, guys. No.
but the problem is, right? Like for me, I'm like, does this get better? Because I don't know. It's not like I know like people that are 10, 20 plus years older than me, and I can go to them and be like, hey, like this, with you and your friends, when y'all went through hard times, did it get better? Like, you know what I mean? Because it just, everyone you talk to is older is like, oh man, this is getting worse and worse. And you're like, huh? Like,
Wait. Are we all in the same boat?
that's not how it feels, man. The more people you talk to, I think that's one of the reasons also why people are hesitant to connect with other people because one,
You don't
they're
know
afraid
who's
that
who.
yeah, but also I think they're afraid to hear that other people are also going through shit and like
Hmm.
dark, sad shit. Cause that doesn't make you feel inspired. It doesn't make you feel positive about. Is that your mom?
No. For once, it's not my mom.
It's credit one. Be like, where's our money, nigga?
I got that shit ironed out. It's been years. Um, no, I think that you're right. Like I was talking to one of my neighbors, and he told me, and like I know the guy from from the bus stop. Garrett, actually, listen to the podcast. Garrett, what's up? If you're listening, and like he opened up about something. I'm like, oh, all right, that's cool. You know what I'm saying? It's also like I said earlier, it's really hard to get to know people as you get older, right? And especially people in your neighborhood when you're new there. And yeah, and I think the other aspect of it, like right now, per se, is like you also don't know where people are at. You know what I'm saying? Like, where their minds are at. And then if you meet somebody and you think they're cool, and you're just like, oh God, please don't be like this, or just, because you don't want to go there. I think we're as a country, we're kind of going back to like we don't talk about politics, we don't talk about this, like that. But at the same time, we do talk about that once you get that vibe. Then like, oh yeah, we're the gates are open. But I think people are starting to stray away because it kind of does close in your circle even more. And and then you feel you can be in a space where you feel more lonely. Like I remember I used to work with this guy and he was very much a Republican, not MAGA Republican, but he was a Republican. So with everything going on and whatnot, and everyone's saying what they feel about the world, I could tell he got uncomfortable.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, oh man, I know that like that's not you, but that's something that you kind of, you know, identify with to some degree. And like, so he's in this tough place. And I was like, I remember I said something. He's like, yeah, this guy, like, he's a little bit too Republican for me, but I meant MAGA Republican. But then it was also at the point where I can't necessarily take the step back and be like, hey, man, I wasn't talking about you, because that makes it seem really bad. So it's like, it's just a weird, we live in a weird time.
We do, especially with the tribalism and everything like that. It's like, it's tough because, I have people in my life that if they knew that like some of my closest friends were Republicans, and they're, like you said, they're not MAGA Republicans. Like they're not wearing the fucking red hat and being crazy disrespectful and shit like that. But they do vote for a party that is very much misaligned with what my values are and what I think are important, right? But then I also, on the flip side of that, it's wild because I know if like, some people who would, immediately be like, oh, I can't fuck with Brandon now or whatever. But I know some liberal people that have said and done way more problematic things who claim that they're very liberal aligned, who I've heard them say things, whether it's like certain, people in the neighborhood moving into, like, certain people moving into their neighborhood, whether it's like, hey, they're going to build a homeless shelter, or like they want to use this housing to like provide more affordable housing for people. Yeah. Then you see a different side of those hipsters and those fucking transplants that claim that they're so fucking, aligned and an ally, right?
Yeah.
And it's like a lot of them don't even have black friends or people of color as friends. That's the wilder part. That's the crazy part. But anyways, I just think that's crazy in New York City. You know what I mean? I think it's like, are you literally trying to live like Lena Dunham and Girls? Like, what is? That's insane. Like, that's what's so like, and I think that's where I think that's where white women get like real caught up on their bullshit. Is like, oh, I'm so liberal minded and like girl power, blah blah blah. But then it's like, I'm looking around at your circle and not much diversity there.
Well, I mean, but to certain people's defense, if you're not, if that's not your circle, and you're not welcome in that circle, like I can imagine, that's a hard circle to break in. Like, also like, let's be totally honest. Let's be totally honest here. Is like, as a white woman, you're not just just running up in a black space of black women. They're gonna be like, who the fuck are you? And they're not going to be as openly inviting. I'd say men are far more inviting. I think overall, I would say it's kind of historically, women are not very inviting. As a whole, to like new people, it's harder for them to make friends. Guys are. It's easier for us to make friends, but as we get older, it's harder because our groups are set.
Yeah. I will say, I definitely think, like, in regards to this movie, I think Austin having the conversation as he's distancing himself from Craig, who clearly wants to have continue their friendship. But after like the guys' night, it's clearly that Austin's uncomfortable, right? And so he actually talks to him about it a little bit. Like he kind of breaks up with him in a way, right? Yeah. He's like, we have fun or whatever, right? Whereas I know women, they do not have this conversation. They just fucking ghost you, or like, later on when he sees that like Austin's having a guys' night, which causes him to get real crazy, that would happen like, to women and stuff like that. That happens way more to women, like not being invited to certain shit. We see it all the time. That's the reason why the Housewives shows are so popular. That's all they fucking do is like, oh, you didn't invite this chick and she's fucking this dude's. It's insane. But it's wild because, with Craig initially finding companionship in Austin, he becomes a better father. He becomes a better husband. So it really is good at like talking about what that kind of connection can do for like men, especially like given like, last, election, like people like Scott Galloway kept talking about the real problem is young men and how like isolated and toxic they're becoming because of that isolation and like lack of options and like the way that society now looks on young men. And, I thought there was something really powerful about that, despite all the absurd comedy and everything. Like this movie does have something to say, right, about loneliness. It's just that sometimes, the thing with Craig is, and the way that Tim Robinson plays him is, every day he's towing the line between like just being his genuine weird self and going overboard because he thinks that that's what people want from him. You know what I mean? Or like he's trying to like get people to like him and stuff.
Like he shows up to Austin's job.
Oh, that's so weird.
And he just walks there. He's just like, what are you doing here? Which at first, Austin kind of sees him in the corner of his eye and he fucks up because he's just like, what the fuck is happening right now? And, you know, and it's like, yeah, he just took a new role, you know, at work. And it's just like, he's struggling. He's trying to fucking find his footing. And then you have this weird guy that just pops up. And he's just like, hey, let's go to this place that the Marines who killed bin Laden, they have this meal, which is such and such barbecue ribs and
oh yeah, his whole thing is like I've heard it's insane. Like he's one of those guys that's like they say is like so good, like because he's talking about the new Marvel movie. It's like I keep hearing it's so good, man. We gotta go see this new Marvel movie.
I hear that it'll literally drive you crazy.
And so, but I love that the world is established that everyone's kind of weird. And I think that that's what we forget, like being in our own heads, is that the world's a fucking weird place. Like we constantly see Tammy, where's her little van. She's telling Craig, like, I need a bigger van because she has like an independent flower business. And we just constantly see her stuffing these like flower sets into this little ass like car. And it's just like such a weird sight gag, but it's like consistent throughout the movie. And so you're just like, oh, like there's weird shit happening. It's just that Craig is even weirder than all of this.
Yeah.
Like he escalates it beyond what he needs to. But then he tries to recreate these memories that he had of Austin with his family. He tries to take his son to the weird woods place where like, you know, they look at mushrooms and stuff.
And the kid he eats a fucking poisonous mushroom and gets sick. And throws them into
everyone. Dude, everyone knew. Like as soon as he started eating that, we're like, well, that's gonna be a thing.
I didn't know whether it was gonna be a thing where he got sick or he got fucking high.
Oh, well, we gotta talk. That's my favorite scene in the whole fuck. That's that might be one of my top in the last decade. That might be one of my funniest like moments in a movie in a comedy. Which was the psychedelic toad thing, but we'll get to that. We got to talk about Tammy getting lost in the sewer. So, so Craig tries to recreate going through the sewers to get into City Hall with Tammy. Of course, it gets fucking turned around. Tammy doesn't want to be like, rightfully so. She's in the dirty ass sewer. It smells. He's making her jump on shit and stuff, and then he loses her. She gets lost in a dark ass sewer. She doesn't have a flash.
I mean, honestly, though, she did kind of get herself lost. And another part of me was just like, was she really lost, or did she just fucking nope out of there and then go fuck her fireman friend? Because she was cheating on him, right? She's cheating on him.
I mean, once we saw who that guy was, which is why is this Josh Segarra, who pops up in every fucking thing. He was in Scream 6. He was in fucking Abbott Elementary. He's on the show called The Other Two, which I don't know if you've seen that, Justin. It's on Max. It's so fucking funny. It's about like these two older siblings of like a Justin Bieber kind of character. It's 3 seasons. Wanda Sykes is in it. Ken Marino's in it. It's so funny. And he's like the boyfriend of the sister. And he just has that smile, like, because he's a good looking dude. And he just has this like kind of like, hey, everybody. And so he's the guy that we keep hearing about, like Kate Mara's ex throughout the movie. And then she's the one that, like, he's the one that she stays with him, right? After she moves out.
Yeah.
And stuff. And so like when they recover her from the sewer, they have like this welcome home party and he gives a speech and shit. Tim Robinson's just like just watching from the corner like, okay.
Also, it made it kind of look like their son is his son.
Yeah, there was some weird stuff.
Like there's no way that his son is his son.
It's possible, but this movie's just thrown all kinds of weird moments and quirkiness where you're like, that could be a thing, but they don't explore it, right? They don't like harp on it. They just kind of like move on. But yeah, once I saw Josh Segarra, I was like, oh yeah, she's definitely fucking that guy. And then Tim Robbins. So he calls the cops after he lost Tammy, and they're like,
oh, no. Wait, no. He doesn't call the cops because remember, he broke into Paul Rudd's house.
Yes.
He broke into
that's right. They come to him to question
and steals his gun.
I forgot about that because he gets in our package, right?
Yes.
Folks, I'm going off my memory from seeing this at South by Southwest, and Justin just freshly saw it. I'm seeing it again this coming weekend as of this recording. So, yes, I forgot that happens before this. Yes. So he broke into the house before this.
So she gets lost in the sewer, and then he goes home because he can't because he dropped his phone. He loses multiple phones in this movie. Can't find them and just abandons them. So he loses his phone, and then he goes home to try, I guess, to try to call her, to try to call her phone while she's in the sewer. And then starts talking to his son, gets a knock on the door. It's the police with Austin, and they have a fucking, like a dog with them. It's just like, oh, it's like, you broke into my house. It's like the dogs, basically caught the scent and it came here. It's like, so you're saying that the intruder broke into his house and then broke into mine afterwards? Yeah. And he's just like, no. He's like, who you stay here? Who's here with you? It's like myself and my son. Anyone else? It's like my wife. It's like, where's your wife? She's not
in the
home.
sewer.
Yeah, no, she's not home. He's like, no, where is she? And he just sends everyone like,
Tim Robinson deadpan. Tim Robinson deadpan, where you see him calculate like Homer Simpson, like, what do I say? What do I say? And he's like, she's in the sewer.
She's in the sewers. What? She's in the sewers. Cut to
the cops are like,
in
what?
The sewers with a fucking search party. I'm like, oh my god, she's lost in the sewers. We were trying to do something adventurous,
and they find her. She's all shell shocked and shit. But that was so funny though. Like when, like the audience was in stitches when like he's just like, "Where's your wife?" And he's,
well, and that's the thing is like
things are just getting so
crazy. The passage of time. You don't know the passage of time, and then it just goes to that scene, and it's like, and of course there's crazy things going on, so you don't know what's going on, and then all of a sudden it's just like, oh my god, like you almost forgot about the wife thing. You thought, okay, that thing's over. He lost her, he found her, whatever. Like, no, she's still lost in the fucking sewer. Like, yo. The comedy in this is just, it
implied that it was multiple days that they were looking for her. And mind you, this is after we know, again, things are escalating because Craig did, there was another package that's delivered that's intended for Austin to his house. He goes to drop it off, but then Austin's not home. So he then sneaks in through his house through the broken window, right? And then that's when he, like you said, he discovers that, Craig had a gun and stuff like that. So he takes that.
A gold gun.
Which is so crazy. And, once you introduce a gun, folks, you know how that works in movies. You got to bring it back.
Yeah.
So Tammy's returned. They have like a welcome home party and stuff. Craig is still fucking obsessing over, Craig's still obsessing over Austin, stuff like that. He has the meltdown where he threatens to beat up the mayor and stuff like that. He gets fired. He does a really uncomfortable toast after, Josh Segarra does his little thing. And then she's like, I'm moving into Devin's pool house or whatever. He's just like, okay. And then Craig gets a new job, right?
Yeah, it's like a meter maid.
And then he buys Tammy a van.
There's gotta be rules.
He buys Tammy a van and stuff like that. And it really seems like he's finally putting his life together. Mind you, before this, again, one of my favorite scenes in the movie, because Justin mentioned that he has to constantly get a new phone. So he goes into the cell phone store. The young salesman who's a drug dealer, he constantly is offering Craig drugs. All right.
Wait, hold on. No. You got to set that up again. After he loses his first phone in the swamp, he's talking to this kid, and he's just like, and like, I guess he liked his vibe. He's like, hey, I'm going to go over to, a Ricky's fucking bar. Where I can't remember the name of the bar. It's like, you want to come over and have a beer? He's like, I'm 18. It's just like, oh, man. They say that, it's hard to tell, how old girls are because, some of them like 18, you look 25. I guess it's the same thing with guys too. In my head, was like, this kid obviously thinks he's trying to fuck him, right? Because that's the way it comes off.
Yep, it definitely does. It definitely.
Like he came off
so
really
uncomfortable.
Weird. And then the kid's just like, he's just like, all right, well, I'm gonna put the receipt in the bag. He's just like, hey, if you ever, want anything stronger, other than that beer, come and talk to me. So eventually he goes back to talk to him, and then this fucking madness ensues. Again, go back to talk to him to buy a second phone.
Yes.
A third phone at this point.
And then the kid offers him he offers a bunch of drugs, and then basically he mentions that he has a psychedelic toad, and then he's like, yeah, you get a certain amount of money for one lick, right? Because that's all it takes. And then Craig, so he takes Craig into the fucking back room, puts down a little blanket thing for him, and it's just like
his jacket.
Yeah. Oh, it's his jacket. Okay.
Yeah,
And he's
that
just
jacket
like,
is wild.
yeah, and he's just like, yeah, man, it's like you're gonna see all kinds of crazy shit. It's gonna be painful, but it's gonna be beautiful, and I love you, man. Like it's so weird. This kid, the actor that they got, is so fucking weird. I hope I see him again in some shit. He should be like in a Days Confused kind of movie because he was
Yeah.
great. And then he's like, yeah, it's gonna change your fucking life, man. So then we had this dramatic scene where Craig licks the toad, and he's just like, have fun, baby. Turns off the lights, leaves the room, right? Craig,
He's like, he goes, all right, so I'm gonna turn off the light and I'm gonna leave you because I gotta go on break. He's like, no, can you stay with me? He's like, no, I need to go get something to eat because I only got 20 more minutes.
yeah. And so he's like, it's gonna be crazy and painful, but you can be stronger afterwards, right? Turns off the lights, leaves Craig. Craig then proceeds to have a dream where he goes to a Subway sandwich. Paul Rudd's character's there working there, and he's got like gray hair and shit. He looks all crazy. And then Craig basically orders a sandwich. And then he's like, and then Paul Rudd's like, so do you want to toast it? And he's like, and Craig's like, you know what? Let's go crazy. Toast it. And then Paul Rudd's like, all right. Craig wakes up. And then the kid goes into the break room and is like, how was it? And he's like, I just ordered a sandwich. He's like told it's gonna be a fucking life-changing experience, mind-bending. It's gonna be all kinds of crazy shit.
He just ordered to eat it. He didn't even get to eat it.
He just orders, bro. That was the best fake out ever. Like it's just like I was like, oh man, it's gonna get real crazy because this movie's already at 11, and then that was like it somehow brought it back down to like a 4 because it was so like ordinary.
This crazy mundane thing of ordering a fucking Subway sandwich. And like I was like, what in the fuck? And like the thing that made it so funny is like I don't know it was the last time you went to a Subway, but like
It's been a while.
the terminology, like everything. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna have this, that. It was just like, oh my god, it was just so good. It's
good. Funny you brought that up, the terminology, because a lot of people don't realize that like there's a specific language to ordering at Subway. Same way there is like to like other like famous establishments where like there's
like
specific...
Starbucks. You don't say small, medium, large, a latte, tall,
grande, all that shit.
Yeah.
Fucking speak to me in English, not Latin, motherfucker. What's happening here?
Is Starbucks from fucking Italy? No, America.
But dude, like that, like I can't wait to watch that scene again. I just can't wait because it's just so funny. And Detroiters did shit like that all the time, where they did these really weird buildups, and then like nothing really happened, or like even like something I never predicted would happen, right? Because I think I sent you the clip with the teen clubs, the teen club commercial that they try to do.
Yes,
and basically ended up being like a commercial that encouraged pedophiles to go to this teen club.
Oh, God, that thing was, oh my God.
Yeah. I will say that
to this day.
Yeah, I will say the final confrontation between Craig and Austin was dark, but they actually stuck the landing. Like, because I had a feeling, like, because Craig's starting to get his life together. Like I said, he bought Tammy the van and stuff, and then he's driving by Austin's house. He sees that he's having another guy's night, and
but he sees that Austin,
the yellow sports car. That Austin said he was
Corvette.
going to drive him in if he ever got one.
Yeah,
because doesn't he kind of credit what's his name, Craig, with helping him push to get the morning slot?
Yeah, because Craig is just like, why don't you just ask for it? He's just like, it's not that easy. Like, no, like I won my own office. I asked for it, and now in my office, I could sit there. I could do whatever I want. I can eat whatever disgusting, embarrassing, smelly food that I want. Eat lunch on my own with nobody else. I was like, oh, you live a lonely fucking life.
Yeah.
But so like he basically was like, hey, just go after it. Ask for it. What's the worst thing that could be said? So he does it, and then that's how he's able to. But he also at the same time blames him for it. He's just like, now, like it's hard. It's like this is not better. It's like there's so much pressure and yada yada yada. But eventually it did work out. So it's like, So Craig did bring something positive into his life. It's just like, but then Austin, I guess he's just like, now I have to fucking work for this shit. He's like, I don't want to fucking do that. But eventually it did work out for him.
Yeah, and also like Austin does to an extent, because we have that final moment with them at the end of the movie where Craig's in the back of that police car. Like Craig knows something that apparently no one besides Austin's wife knows about him, which is that he wears his hairpiece. Right, even his closest supposed friends don't know this about him, right? So there is that secret between them that Craig actually actively helps Austin keep that secret, whether it's like, you know, they're in police holding and stuff, right? Which is something that happens when they get caught, you know, sneaking into the fucking tunnels and city halls.
Well, after his wife gets lost in the tunnels, and he basically tells him that Austin took me into these tunnels before.
He ended up snitching on everybody and shit. Which is the worst kind of. You don't want to be that guy. You don't want to be that guy. You don't want to be that guy. You don't want to be the guy, especially like legal trouble. You don't want to be the dude that breaks down the crew like that.
Also, it was hilarious when he's at work and looking out of his window, and he could see basically all the guys from work mocking him on a daily basis, sitting around smoking. Oh, and when he invites them over, well, I mean, that part I didn't like.
It was very uncomfortable.
I couldn't imagine inviting people into my home, you know, for a guy's night or whatever, and then them openly disrespecting me as a group.
It was very office-like. That's something that won't happen to Michael Scott.
Yeah,
like there's moments where I was like, there's moments of this, like in I imagine Andrew DeYoung is a white guy. There was definitely like white guy cringe stuff in here, like because BJ Novak was like a head writer in The Office, and he wrote some of the most uncomfortable episodes of The Office. Like white dudes have no chill, and so there's times where like and they put themselves in situations like that. Like so that's why like that scene felt almost too real for me, because I do know people, especially who are bosses, that try to be cool and like they try to like invite their team and like people over to their house and stuff like that,
like into their lives, you know,
but it's like you're the only people there. Like it's one thing to invite like, you know, people that maybe you like working with and be like, hey, I'm having this get together, come over. But then if it's just them and they don't know it, that's really uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, so this is just an office party.
Yeah, but it's also like he should have, you know, Craig's terrible at reading the room, so that's why you know, he put himself in that situation.
When he pulls out, he's just like, this is like a medieval sword. And it's like a tiny little dagger.
I think he's trying to get them to sing with him and shit. He's constantly trying to relive this acapella moment. Even when he has all the guys at the Austin Sky night, you know, fucking pointing a gun at them and stuff. And he tells the one dude, he's like, you know, I've been thinking about your big titty daughter. And how concerned you were about her.
Your busty daughter. Oh God, your busty daughter that everyone keeps ogling. And
and then like so then you know, the thing is the gun accidentally goes off, but what ends up making Craig's, you know, discretion, like, you know, not even discretion, like his almost house invasion thing, home invasion situation worse, is that he points the gun at the other friends in order to allow Austin a moment to fix his hairpiece. So he's not embarrassed, right? And so he genuinely does care about Austin and is willing to go to jail probably for a while because of that, right? And so that's
everybody
like the
get on the ground. Nobody look at me.
Yeah. And that's like, you know, how we end the movie is where Craig's going to jail. Which there shouldn't be a sequel to this. I don't want there to be a sequel to this, but there's definitely stories that you could explore with Craig in prison.
Oh my God.
Craig trying to make friends in prison would be insane. Because you know nobody gonna visit him.
Yeah.
You know, his wife is gone.
Yeah. Well, you know, the crazy thing is, and what makes it sad is just like he started to turn a new leaf with his family. Like him and his son got closer. Because now it's just me and you know, me and him. It's just the two of them. Like he's cutting his hair now.
Just the two of us. We can make it.
No, stop it. After Austin Powers, we don't need that anymore.
That's right. Yeah, Austin Powers did destroy that.
Yeah, and you know what? It was funny at the time. Yeah,
it was. Is Austin Powers still funny? I feel like if
I haven't watched it in a long
I'm worried to watch it again. Like that's one of those movies like I'm really worried to rewatch it because I loved it so much growing up that I feel like if I watched it again, I'd be like, why did I think this shit was funny? Folks, call and let us know if it's funny still. Let us know if Austin Powers is still funny.
Did we do the Nutty Professor on the podcast?
We did.
Yeah.
Yes. Which
like
it's funny,
but like, you know, but that's the thing. Is like there are certain kinds of movies. Is like, is that comedy still relevant anymore?
Mm. Yeah, I mean, like it's hard to have like it's really hard to pull off a universally funny comedy, I would say.
Yeah.
Especially that stands the test of time. Like for me, like in regards to Eddie Murphy movies, that's always going to be Coming to America. There's just something that's so timeless about it, even though it's
Yeah.
filmed in a very specific time in America in the '80s. And
Uh-huh.
something it's just so funny, and everyone just like it's just so genuine in like their character betrayals and stuff. It's just a great romantic comedy. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's why
It
the
really
second one
is.
kind of like dilutes that a little bit by making him a
No,
fuck
no, it
boy.
doesn't no, it doesn't dilute the first one. The second one is like throw it away, lock it in,
I try
lock
to
it away.
pretend it
Yeah,
doesn't exist.
yeah, we purged
Honestly.
that. We purged that. No,
But
no,
folks,
nobody fucks with the first.
call in at 347-464-8214. Let us know your
Yeah,
thoughts.
well, yeah, yeah. Do you think that Austin Powers is so funny? Also, should we do Austin Powers?
Question mark? I don't know.
Should
It's always
we?
weird to like review comedies on the show because
Yeah.
we already do like comedy thoughts and stuff. But Justin, break down our rating system, baby.
Stop calling me baby. Guys, so you
I'm
know how we
clearly
do
not going to
this.
stop. It's been years.
You need to figure it out, nigga. Guys, you know how we do this. We rate movies bags of popcorn, small, medium, large, and the XL for the exceptional. If a film doesn't deserve any hot, buttery, delicious popcorn, we throw it into the stale popcorn pile. We pile piles and piles of stale popcorn on top of it. So, Brandon, we watched the 2024 film Friendship, starring Paul Rudd, Tim Robinson, Kate Mara, and Jack Dylan Grazer. What say you, sir?
Yeah, this gets a large, man. This gets a large. I really enjoyed it. It's my favorite comedy of the year so far. I hope a lot of people get to see this to not only discover Tim Robinson, but just like to have a good time in the theater with a bunch of people. Like you said, like the communal experience of being in a theater and laughing. Like it's been so long. I think the last time I really like was part of a comedy where the audience was just fucking losing their minds is probably Girls Trip.
I was literally
I'm
about to say the
sure
same thing.
there
I was
might
going
be
to say the
something in
same
between
thing.
now and then, but like in regards to that was a memorable experience. Like, because I remember we saw Girls Trip together, man. Like people were like doubling over, like people were like
Yeah.
fucking losing their minds. And when I saw this at South by Southwest, like we were losing our minds. So like and the rest of the theater was fucking having a great time. So
Well, I would also say Death of a Unicorn, but I saw that at South by Southwest. But also at the same time, a lot of comedies don't get theatrical releases anymore,
I know,
which
I
is,
know it's a
it
problem.
sucks. Yeah.
It's a problem. And like, yeah, it's tough because the only people that really get the comedies made now are like, and that's what's unfortunate about it when you think about diversity and everything. But it's like the Tim Robinson or like Seth Rogen, Evan Goldberg, who, like for Evan Goldberg and Seth Rogen, they've been in fucking business since they were like 16. You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? So it's like they've been in the business for a long time, so they're rightfully earning their spot in that. But there's so few theatrical comedies that it's diluted the genre, I think.
Yeah. No.
Because
Very, very
Netflix has a
much so.
fucking lock on this shit. It's just like, it's not it just doesn't hit. Like a comedy can hit when you're watching it on streamer and home video in some form after you've had the theatrical experience where you can like tap back into those feelings and emotions you had when you saw an iconic moment on screen with a bunch of strangers and
Yeah.
stuff like that. You know what I mean? Because imagine the Marvel movies just being streamed on Disney Plus. Imagine we just watch Endgame on Disney Plus.
Yeah. It's not the same.
Well, nowhere near the same.
It's
But
not. Well, and comedy is something different because comedy um, uh, kind of feeds off of that communal thread of laughter and energy that then like shoots throughout the room. You know what I'm saying? So like you're tapping into that, and when you take it out of the room and you have somebody just sitting there watching it alone, it's not as funny. Like you invite friends over and you sit there and you watch a funny movie together. That movie, that's how a movie goes from just like, oh, that was fun to it's just like this is the thing that we quote every other fucking day. It's like that's how it goes.
And I will say between watching Friendship and like Sinners and stuff like that, there is a huge difference. And a lot of people I get friends that text me about, oh, like this advanced screening, how was it, blah blah blah. And I do think it's genuinely starting to impact my enjoyment of some of these movies ahead of time. Because a lot of critics, and people don't know this, a lot of film critics are very fucking snooty. They are very pretentious. They're all about their feelings and what they want an artist or a director or someone to do versus what's actually being presented to them. So I'm starting to ask a lot of questions about how these people, and I'm sure people asking about us, right? Like, how are these guys, Rotten Tomatoes critics and stuff? But I'm like, I genuinely love films. I want every movie I sit down for to be successful, to be enjoyable, to be memorable, right? These people are already talking shit before the fucking lights have even gone down the box, in the theater, right? And so I would have hated to see this movie just with a bunch of critics. I think it just it would have been quiet probably, and maybe some chuckles. But when you see what an audience that wants the movie to be successful and it's not, that tells you everything you need to know. Like I remember we saw that one movie, New Jack Fury at South by Southwest, and everyone wanted it to be successful. Like it's midnight screening. Like we're like, all right, this is going to be something. And then I just watched it bomb for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
But Justin, what's your rating for this movie?
Man, I'm gonna say this, like, this is one of the films I've been looking forward to, since, we saw the trailer for it. One, because I love Tim Robinson. Two, I love Paul Rudd. And, I just knew that this was going to give us that level of, comedic awkwardness I was looking for. And this did not disappoint. It actually exceeded my expectations. And for that, I'm giving it an XL. Like, it's very rare that I go and watch a film, especially a comedy. And a comedy is a lot funnier than what you thought it was to be. And again, not this entire movie didn't get, exposed in the trailer, and that's only the only funny parts. Yeah. No, that the trailer was
there's no funny parts except for the acapella scene.
Yeah.
And even that's played straight into the trailer. Like without context, that's played kind of
like this.
I did the callbacks to it.
This movie is just so fucking. Yeah, listen. I don't. It's hard to say that something's a perfect comedy because comedy is like it's chaos in a way. But
this has longevity though, for sure.
Yeah, like this one. If someone said this was the perfect comedy film, I'm hard pressed to argue that. Like I would say one of Coming to America. That may be like the one of the most perfect comedy films that I've ever saw. If somebody said this and Coming to America or another strategy, it's like, yeah. But it's also because these guys know their characters very well, and like this film, it brought out everything. Like this is a film that should make Tim Robinson a star. If you don't know who the fuck he is, you know who the fuck he is now, and you should be prepared for him now.
Yeah, I also think, except for like some women, talking about the royal penis is clean, Your Highness, moment in Coming to America. I do think it's like it works so well generationally because it's a relatively harmless movie. It's not trying to be mean. Like there's like maybe there's some off-color jokes and stuff like that, but it's not like the one thing. Like I love Superbad, but Superbad has some jokes that make you cringe now. You know what I mean? Because they drop the F word and stuff like that. Where you're like, fuck. Like I enjoy it, but like I wish I could cut that out now in a rewatch or something like that. Yeah. This movie, like, and I'm actually gonna bump it up to XL. Because this movie, like, I can see myself rewatching years from now, like watching with my kids, almost like the way I watch like fucking Billy Madison with my, like with my god kids sometimes, like Adam Sandler just being stupid and like it's harmless. It's just so ridiculous, but it's just wants to make you laugh, man. Like this movie, like not only makes you laugh, but also like given like the current state of like men and like our sometimes challenging ability to have like relationships and friendships that like last long. I thought it actually had something like to say about that dynamic, and so that's why I appreciate it too.
And you know what? And just to kind of piggyback off of that, the thing with men, and just to I think the thing and what makes it hard for men to kind of have like these relationships is because you also don't know what you're dealing with, because there's also this toxic mandom that's out there that you don't want to be a part of that. But then again, you don't know if people it's really tough right now, like in the current climate that we're in, to actually be a man and make new friends, because there's a lot of fucking weird shit out there that you don't necessarily want to get caught up in. But like, yeah, like I didn't even think about that aspect when we were talking about it earlier.
Well, it's also challenging too, right? Because when you do try to include new people. It's weird, right? Because for instance, like we have like we're part of some group chats and stuff like that, and like there's a group chat that I was a part of where someone was just kind of like really sharing, or like I would say oversharing some really personal challenges they've been going through, and I was like, we're just not at that level, but I guess you think we are to be comfortable in like sharing this, and like,
Yeah.
but I don't have anything like because I don't know you enough to like give you any kind of advice or anything like that, especially via text, right?
Yeah.
Um, and so it's like it makes me uncomfortable because I'm like, I don't want to ask you a bunch of follow-up clarifying questions because honestly, I got my own shit going on and like you're cool, like we're cool, like but at the same time, I need my emotional bandwidth for my wife and my real close friends who I talk to on a daily basis who need my support at various times. You know what I mean? Like
Well, and you
it's
know what?
uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Like
And to that point, it's like you're also, as guys, you're constantly saying like, all right, how much do I share? How much do I
yes,
put out
that
there?
too.
Because you don't want
That
to
too.
be that emotional fucking leech
Yeah.
or baggage on everybody else. It's like, yeah, there's some people like who I know is just like, yeah, they haven't heard about like the shit that that's gone on with me and whatnot. So it's just like, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? And you have to pick and choose, who those people that you really share with, because you also understand this. It's like, yeah, this isn't the guy. And some of those people that isn't the guy could be like one of your best fucking friends. So it's like, it's weird.
Well, it's also in groups too. Like everyone has different dynamics, right? Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like there's clearly like, I don't know. It's tough, right? Because like there's some stuff going on in a group chat of mine where two people were kind of going at it, and it's like got racial elements, political elements to it, and stuff. And I'm like, this person sometimes look at me to co-sign like their thoughts on like black righteousness and like what we should be fighting for as black people. And I'm like, but we're in a chat, like, well, like you know what I mean? I'm like, I'm not going to co-sign everything you're saying just because I'm black, but also
Yeah.
like you don't really fuck with me, so why would I also go out of my way to co-sign your thought? Like just because you instead of sending a bunch of TMZ links, you finally want to send something about white Afrikaners coming from fucking South America, like in how
Yeah,
that's
South
problematic,
Africa.
South Africa, and I'm like, and how that's problematic. And I'm like, just the other day you were posting about Sydney Sweeney's tits. Like, what are we talking about? You know what I mean? Like, what are you doing? So, anyways, folks, make sure you have some friends. But if you do have friends, make sure that the
Take
people
them.
that you could.
No, if you got some friends, take them to see this movie with you.
Well, that too.
Yeah,
Go for a movie day. Go for a movie
this
day.
this is actually a good movie to go with like a group of people, because like this shit is fucking hilarious.
It is.
And actually, this movie made me want to do a fucking guys' night.
All right. Looking forward to that. Last time I had a guys thing over here, motherfuckers. I had a barbecue, folks. I think I've talked about this in the past episode.
Mm-hmm.
Did you come, Justin? Did you come to that? Were you out of
Yes, I
town?
did. No. It wasn't at your house. It was Astoria, right?
No. I had a barbecue here at the house.
Oh yeah, no. That was for your birthday. Yes, I
No,
was
no.
there.
So this is a separate one. It was like the male comics barbecue and stuff like that. I think you might have been out of town actually.
I may have been in Finland.
Yeah. So I
It
had
was
I
like
had a
during the summer.
barbecue. I had a barbecue with a bunch of our mutual friends in the comedy world, and like it was a guys thing and stuff like that. And one, I was kind of like I was kind of offended that a lot of them didn't know that I could grill and could cook. But then one person knew it was a barbecue, knew I was making barbecue, and they brought over their own fucking barbecue. And I remember ever since then, I was like, I see you different.
Yeah.
I see you different. But hopefully,
Well,
folks.
I mean, you remember the time I had a barbecue, and then a person then showed up to the barbecue with a random nigga who nobody knew.
Mind you, this is in the heart of the pandemic, so it's like trying to take all the precautions, but like clearly people needed to have some kind of connection. Just brought some random nigga.
We just
brought some random, and didn't even introduce them too. They just brought them.
And showed up with meat that was like a year expired. Like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? At a barbecue, and and we talked about it in the group. It's like, hey, let's have this thing. It'll just be us. Yeah. I know everybody just needs this time. And I sat there and cooked, spent all day, and then all of a sudden, a random nigga shows up. And mind you, I even made special things for a certain allotment of people. I had to then scramble to make an extra one for this nigga. After he showed up.
Yep.
I put my foot into that fucking barbecue, and how dare you?
Friends, How many of us have them? All right, folks, leave us a
Friends.
voicemail at 347-464-8214. And again, we are a Patreon supported podcast. So be sure to subscribe to us at patreon.com/media popcorn. You get hundreds and hundreds of hours of bonus content. We got $2 to $15 tiers. It all helps the show. So please consider signing up at patreon.com/media popcorn, or at the very least, subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/medium P podcast. All these links are in our show notes. Please go to them. And Justin, how can people follow you, baby?
Guys, first of all, Brandon, stop calling me baby. You didn't think I called it, you piece of shit. But guys, you can follow me at J Brown Did It on all the social media platforms. Brandon?
Y'all can follow me at Frodo_Blackens, FrodoBlackens.com for show dates, all that good stuff, Drunk Black History. It's all going up. So FrodoBlackens.com. All right, folks. We'll talk to y'all soon.
Peace.
Peace.